So, good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Monica.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning, everyone. So, let's start by just becoming familiar with our inner space. So, we'll just stay with the breathing and become comfortable with the inner emptiness, the inner space that is. So, we'll do that for 5 minutes. We can make use of how belly rises up when the breath is there, and when breath goes out, how the belly goes in. So, tuning in with the body can also help us keep the mind home. So, when we bring the mind home, we are rested. We are rested in our home, our true home. The consciousness knows itself as consciousness, and it's aware of the body, full awareness of the body. And if the thoughts of past and future may come up, or judgments about anything may come up, we are just going to ignore it for the time being. And in other words, this can be called as surrendering, surrendering to the here and now. Surrendering the past to the here and now, surrendering the future worries to the here and now, and becoming available to what the present has to offer. Present has to offer many, many things, but we are not available. So when we connect with the breath and come back to the body, we we fully tap into here and now, become available. I am here. I am available. So I'll go through short teachings one by one on surrendering, what it means to surrender to here and now. And then after that, we'll take again a silent break and then we can share reflections.
You stop. So your in-breath has the capacity of stopping. And when your in-breath has the capacity of stopping, it becomes very pleasant. Your in-breath is not an act of fighting anymore. It is deeply enjoyable. And that is why you are here. How can you be alive when your body, only your body is there and your mind still wander in the past or in the future? You are not really alive. You are not available to you. You are not available to your beloved one. So come home to yourself in the here and the now, become fully alive, and your true presence profit yourself. Your true presence profits your beloved one. When you are fully present, you can touch the beauty deeply. And that is very nourishing, very healing. The beauty is everywhere. But if we are too busy, we don't have the time to enjoy the wonders of life that are available around us and inside of us. Suppose you are standing with a group of people, and in front of you there is a beautiful sunset. If you have worries, anxiety, and fear in you, if you keep thinking about the future, if you keep thinking about the past, and then you are not free. And the beautiful sunset is not for you. It's for other people who know how to be fully present in the here and the now. So you are thinking of calling someone, talking to someone, and you are caught in your anxiety, your fear, your sorrow, your business. You are not truly there for the beautiful sunset. So the practice is to free oneself from the regret, the sorrow concerning the past, the fear, the anxiety concerning the future, and bring your mind back to the present moment in order to get in touch with the many conditions of happiness that are already there. And that is for our nourishment and our healing, because all of us need some nourishment and some healing. Most of us believe that happiness cannot be possible in the here and now. That is why we long to go to the future or somewhere else to look for some more conditions to be happy. According to the teaching of the Buddha, happiness is possible in the present moment. and you have enough conditions to be happy right here and right now. If we know how to bring our mind back to our body and become fully established in the here and the now, we will recognize the many conditions of happiness that are already there, and you can be happy right away.
So let's take a pause, like a 5 minutes break again. We'll just, as he was sharing, keep the mind with the body for 5 minutes. So, one thing which helps again and again as the mind wanders in thoughts is to tell the mind, dream. It's like on the left there is dream, on the right there is dream, and the only reality is here and now. So, if I see going myself again in the thoughts of past or future, worries, anxieties, and if I just label it all as dreaming, as if I started to dream again, it helps me to bring the focus back to the here. Also, many a times when we start with this practice, the mind can come up with conclusions like, oh, nothing is happening, I've tried being with the breath for one day, and what can really happen, what can this lead to. So this is very important to realize that we are not doing this practice as a means to an end, like as if this is going to reach me somewhere, take me somewhere. We are doing this just for the sake of it, because it's enjoyable. In the beginning, it takes a bit of discomfort to bring the mind back to the body. Just like in the beginning, any skill that we are practicing, instrument that we are practicing, we need a bit of effort before we become effortless and can begin to enjoy the music. So just like that, in the beginning, we are not, since we are not used to taming the mind, bringing it in the here and now again, it causes a bit of discomfort, but very soon we realize that this is very beneficial, also for us to rest ourselves in our being. It's very beneficial. And also when we see ourselves taking actions in day-to-day activities from a rest within rather than an agitation within. So that's it, that's it. There is no future purpose. Even if there is a future purpose, we are not going there. Why am I doing this? Because it feels nice, and also I feel rested. It prevents the dispersion of energies. It brings back mind home. That's the only purpose. Yeah. So any reflections, anyone at this moment? Okay, so in the, if not, I can play something more. We can listen to it together.
We need freedom in order to live our life. And freedom from the past, from the future, from the worries and uncertainty about the future, from the sorrow and regret concerning the past. And mindfulness with the practice of breathing, walking, can help us to get free and to be there. We have an appointment with life, and that appointment takes place in the here and the now, in the present moment. And if we miss the present moment, we miss our appointment with life, which is very serious. But as we continue to live without mindfulness, we always miss the present moment. The practice of mindful walking can be very helpful. Because if we know how to walk, and then every step can bring us home to the here and the now. And we can combine our steps with our in-breath or out-breath. If you know how to combine the breathing and the walking together, and breathe in mindfulness and walk in mindfulness, and then every step can bring you home to the here and the now, so that we can live our life. Otherwise, we will waste our life. We have been living in forgetfulness many, many years. Forgetfulness is the opposite of mindfulness. Mindfulness is to remember that life is a wonder. We are there and we should live our life deeply. when you practice walking with a group of people, we can walk normally, not too quick, not too slow, and breathing in, we may make 2 steps or 3 steps, and every step should bring us home to the here and the now. And you may use a word in order to remind you of doing so. I have arrived. I have arrived. I have arrived. I have arrived is not a thought you are not thinking. I have arrived is a means, a kind of device to help you to do what you want to do. I have arrived means I have arrived in the here and the now, where life is available. The address of life is here and now. And you will find out that the kingdom, the address of the kingdom of God is also here and now. That is what I have found. I have shared this insight and practice with many Catholics and Protestants. Many of them are bishops, and they are very capable of understanding that. I told them that for me, the kingdom of God is available in the here and the now. And you don't have to die in order to go to the kingdom. In fact, it might be too late. You have to be very alive in order to step into the kingdom of God.
So I think I'm stopping here because it's good to take it in bits and pieces. All this teaching, so full and rich of profound insights. And even if we can just practice this much that he has told, I think that itself is enough. So, any reflections? Anything? Anyone?
Good morning, everyone. I was trying actually throughout the day if I can practice this, like yesterday when we were going for a walk, as walking and mindfulness walking. So I was thinking to be mindful throughout the day, every time, uh, whenever I'm awake, and if I'm breathing in, see if I can be connected. So I was trying. So I got some good result actually. I feel so much of life is inside and a peace of mind. As if there's no problem with me or about whom I used to think. And as if there's no problem, all the problems are solved. So I'm just really enjoying this to be mindfulness as far as possible through 7 into 24. So this is a very good thing to inculcate the good habits and to get rid of our past experiences and the way of life. what we did. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah. Good morning.
I think this last part from Tishnathan of the kingdom is now resonates very much with me. And even trying to practice every day, but also keeping on offering whether it works or not, and not to get frustrated when thoughts come back, and just to let go and continue. So it's an amazing practice, and thank you.
Yeah. I think it's something very basic and uh, must be also included in education in schools. As I have this quote here by Sri Aurobindo. I had read it in an earlier session also. He says about educating the mind. There is nothing mind can do that cannot be better done in the mind's immobility and thought free stillness. And this is what we are practicing. What is he sharing? There is nothing mind can do that cannot be better done in the mind's immobility and thought free stillness. When mind is still, then truth gets her chance to be heard in the purity of silence. So, the more there is chaos in the mind, chatter in the mind, the more I'm actually unable to hear the truth. What is available right now? What is the right action to be done? Or what is the action which I should not be doing? Many a times we do many actions which are not required. And then he shares further, mind has to be silent and attentive to receive knowledge from above and manifest it. So, this is something which we, in other words, call inner guidance, or intuition, which is very doubt free. That whenever there is intuition, it's doubt free. We don't have doubts about it because the very action that comes as intuitive insight definitely is going to benefit myself and others. So there is no doubt in that action. So, for example, we see a child on the street and maybe a car is coming, and I rush to prevent the child, to get hit by the car. So there is no doubt about it, for example. But in the analytical mind, in the conceptual mind, there are doubts. And if that is on all the time, the conceptual mind is on all the time, it prevents me, as if it makes a layer of a curtain, that chatter, continuous chatter, and I am not able to be available to the silence and the stillness. So if only we can, as Badalji was sharing, Sridevi ji was sharing, that if we can become slowly comfortable with this inner space that is always available with us, and things will arise, as you shared, that thoughts will arise, but as you said, in other words, we offer everything that arises. Everything is offered in the here and now. Offered like a ahuti, you offer it. And whatever is the right action, you are guided within. Whatever is the right action, step to be taken in external life, you automatically you take it. And whenever we do any action from this inner space and stillness, that's an action not coming from the knot of ego, and that would not accumulate more and more burden of karma in our life. It'll not harm others and myself. So the more I become comfortable with this inner space, this emptiness within, slowly the positive qualities of goodness, kindness, wisdom, compassion, they all flower in this inner space. It's not an emptiness. It's an emptiness which is full of potentialities. But if only I can give it some chance. Yeah. So anything else? Anyone? Okay, so if there is nothing, there is last something which we can listen to. It's also quite beautiful. So we can just listen to this, and then after that we can maybe end. Yeah.
But the surrendering of everything is not, it's often misunderstood. It's not something that the mind has to do. The mind, as you rightly imply, is going to have a horrible time trying to surrender. It's more a question of seeing that space of awareness in which our experience appears is already letting every appearance go moment by moment. Awareness never holds on to a thought, a sensation, or a perception. So that awareness's natural condition is to be totally surrendered. It's not something we have to try to achieve with the mind. That would be a real battle. It's more a question of just noticing in our experience that awareness, the space in which all appearances and all experience arises, is already letting everything go. Take the sound of the plane, for instance. As the sound vanishes, does awareness make any effort to hold on to it? What about the current thought, or the current feeling, or the current perception? Awareness is already letting go of everything, allowing everything and simultaneously letting it go.
So this is, I feel, is very important, because all that we have to do is just to correct this case of mistaken identity. We are this awareness. And when I know myself as this awareness of a thought, awareness of feelings, awareness of body, as you were sharing, noises coming and going. When I correct this case of mistaken identity, I know myself as awareness. Then we realize that actually there is no letting go required there. Because by nature, awareness is non-sticky. Awareness lets all experience come, and it also allows all experience to go. It doesn't get tainted with any experience. That's by nature. It's the nature of, just like sky, the nature of sky is untouched. Black clouds come and then they disappear. The sky doesn't stick to the clouds. And then white clouds come, they come and go, disappear. Rain comes and disappears. For it changes into steam or whatever else. So by nature, our true essence is untarnished and non-sticky. If only I could know myself as this awareness, and not as the stories appearing in my head, or the roles that I play. So if I can correct this mistaken identity, for example, somebody is throwing insult at me, how can I practically make use of it? And many a times there is an argument on an insult where not much from my end is required. I can take it very easily. You know, I don't have to really, at most of the times, I don't have to take a stand and, hit back. So when the insult is thrown, and I hear that word, can I just know myself as awareness in that instant? And what would awareness do? It will hear and let it pass. I'm sticking with my breath. I'm clinging to my breath. So if only I have to cling to anything, can I not cling to that word, but to the breath? Because with the breath, I stay in the body. But while on the other hand, if I go into the word and all the story behind the word and all that the person has done to me previously and what he can do me to, in future, then I am lost. I'm not available in the here and now. I've left home. And that is why it entangles. So when something is happening in the external world in day-to-day life, if only I can remember to take stance as awareness, to know myself as awareness, then I would realize that there is not much required from my part. And how we can help ourselves to remember ourselves as awareness. The moment I come back to the breath, stay with the body, I am taking stance as awareness. While if I get lost in the drama of thought, I'm losing stance as awareness consciously. I'm still awareness in that lost connection, but consciously I have to become aware of it. Like Rupert Spira would say, being aware of being aware. I am awareness, but now I knowingly have to take stance as awareness. That brings me rest, that settles me. What if the person said something? What big deal? I don't have to prove myself to anyone. And that is not to say that I would uh, allow the abusive things to happen if there is abuse. But most of the times there are things said and done in which no interference is required. You can easily take that, take all the blame on you. Doesn't matter. But don't leave your territory, which is the breath and the body. Nothing is worth it. So then we can rest at home. And whatever action is required can be taken from there. So this is how one can practically make use of knowing ourselves as awareness. Yeah, so any last comments, any reflections?
Yeah, hi Monica.
Yeah, hi Ritu.
One question. Let's say I'm driving and I'm just concentrating on my driving. I mean, I'm looking at the sunset while I'm driving or the clear sky or anything. So, am I being mindful? Am I living in the now at this time when I'm driving and at the same time looking at things around? And then there's another stage wherein I'm driving and I think that let me listen to this talk. So since this is me time, there's nobody sitting with me, so I'll listen to the talk also. So firstly, I was driving and I could have just thought about my breaths, inhale, exhale, and be in the present. Then secondly, I think of looking around and appreciating the nature or the person sitting in the next car or things like that. And then thirdly, I go ahead one step and instead of concentrating on the things around me, I start concentrating on the talk. So is my appointment with the current being broken when I'm doing this? Or that's also being in the present?
I think all of what you shared is, to me, it appears like here and now only.
Okay.
And there is no one particular formula that, okay, this is here and now. The only thing is that, am I connected with the breath and the body? And if
Hmm.
I'm connecting with the breath and the body, I can enjoy, the sunset, looking at another person in the car, or listening to a talk which brings me again, which reminds me of my essence again, or a talk which is about an interesting topic. How
Yeah,
does it
yeah.
matter? So if I am home, breath and body is home. If I am home, then what happens is that even if I am listening to a talk, then even from the talk there would be insights that will come to me, because I'm here, I'm available to the talk now. The talk is
Mm-hmm.
happening and I'm available. Usually what happens that I'm watching TV or listening to a talk, but I'm so lost in my thoughts that I'm not even available there.
Okay.
So the only idea is to be home with the body, and breath is a thread which connects us to the body. And
Mm-hmm.
when in the body, I can do all the stuff that, like Kabir says, Kabir ji says that like a dancer who dances on the rope tied on two poles. So she's dances also, she's doing all kind of moves, but parallelly she's aware of the awareness of the rope.
Mm-hmm.
So two things are happening parallelly, if we want to say in that way. So parallelly, I am aware of my breath in the body, parallel awareness, and I'm also exchanging or interacting with the outer world.
Mm-hmm.
This parallel consciousness slowly has to be developed, because many a times it happens the moment I see something glittery outward, I lose touch with myself. This is what happens in mostly in so-called romantic relationships, intimate relationships, because outwardly something appears so glittery that I make that my center for rest and happiness, and I lose touch with myself. So if the person is not there, now I feel so lost. So I feel that this parallel awareness has to be inculcated. So this is the practice, and
Mm-hmm.
everything can be enjoyed and done in along with that.
Yeah. But sometimes I think that the concept of multitasking, like while doing a job, if I can multitask, do four things together, it's considered to be very good quality.
Mhm.
But then somewhere while I'm multitasking, I'm kind of not being completely in one task.
Oh, acha acha. So I think, of course, you can multitask. There is no problem with multitasking. Even if I'm multitasking,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing, for example, right now I'm having a session, then
Yeah.
immediately the child calls, I go there, and the problem is not with the outward movements. The problem is, where am I settled when engaged in outer movements? So that is why Buddhism also helps it here a lot, because, for example, they tell us that consider everything illusory, that cannot bring you happiness.
Mm.
So once I know that whatever I am engaged in, whether I'm engaged with the child or engaged in the kitchen or maybe interacting in the office somewhere,
Yeah.
that cannot be the source of my happiness.
Mm-hmm.
Then what will I do? I'll consider rest everything as a drama, as a play, and the true happiness or the true joy. For that, I find refuge within.
Mm-hmm.
So that really helps, because then I don't make the other person or other situation cause for my happiness. Because this is the mistake that we do often in the world, that I make the other person or the situation that you were responsible to give me happiness. Now, how dare you are not available?
Yeah.
So when I am available to the world which is impermanent, then I also know that that cannot provide me with lasting happiness. So where do I go for lasting happiness? I find refuge within. And then I can totally offer myself wherever required.
Yeah.
And then life is not a suffering for me. Like, I created my own suffering. Now I am creating my own happiness, which is finding refuge in myself. And I'm not depending, I'm still interacting with others, I'm multitasking, but I don't hold others responsible for my happiness. I, my inner space, my connection with my breath and body, that is my true refuge. Now I can be of benefit to others because I don't put the burden of my happiness on others' shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very enjoyable state of being, and also it gives you strength because so many sufferings we inflict on others in order to make them responsible for our happiness. And once I take charge for my happiness, then I can actually offer myself to the world.
Mm-hmm.
I can do all kinds of multitasking. There is no problem.
Yeah.
And there is a joy, there is a joy when we are able to give ourselves to the world in any which way. We don't have to go out and socialize that much, not in that sense. In whatever interactions, can I not make the other situation or the person responsible for my happiness? That's a huge burden off the shoulders of that person. That I am not making him or his behavior. I'm totally rested in myself. I'm responsible for my happiness and joy. And now, what can I offer you? I'm telling the other person, okay, what can I offer you? It's a beautiful state of being.
Right.
And we all are equally capable. We all can do it. Yeah. Okay, so is that all? Anything? And this is what we call, developing intimacy with ourselves. We are developing unconditional intimacy with ourselves. And it helps us, and it helps all the people that I interact with, even animals and nature and everything. Then I can completely be here in the now. That because now I'm not holding anything responsible. I have no hopes. Again, I again and again get reminded of the word I discussed with uncle, at your place. Um, Udasinta. He talked about hopelessness in one sense. So udasinta is a very positive word in that sense that now I'm not holding anything in the impermanence of life responsible for my happiness. So I'm completely hopeless. But it's not a disappointing state. It's a very positive quality.
Yeah.
That I'm not holding any situation as a cause of my disappointment. I'm already disappointed by samsara. I know that it cannot give me lasting happiness. So I find refuge within the being, the inner emptiness, and then I engage with the world.
Yeah. Coming back home.
Mm, mm. Okay, so wishing everyone a very good day and constant reminders for being back home. Good practice, happy practice. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
each one. Yeah. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.